Before we even set foot in Rookie Village, we need to go over one of the issues first with Anomaly, or issues isn't the right word, because it comes down to your perception. Should a game require mods to be a better game or not? I'm not here to answer that question. I'm here to say why Stalker Anomaly is one of my favorite games ever, and the interesting way it handles the tutorial and exploration of the world. Now, on screen are a bunch of the mods and the mod loader files that I use. I'm using Stalker Anomaly Mod Organizer 2.4.4, and I have some of the audio mods, the boomstick and sharp sticks, which is required, pretty much required at this point. I'm also using the Do You Even Repair Bro, HD Mutants, and that's it. These are all of the mods that I think that Stalker Anomaly needs. Adding a bunch more weapons can be very good. However, getting those weapons is a completely different level. And then just HD mutants and better lighting and things like that. Stalker Anomaly is what I would call a hardcore RPG sandbox game. Now, that's not to say that the game itself has the most enticing story ever. There is a lot of things to do and a lot of lore for you to uncover in the zone in order to have a good experience. But that requires a lot of work and a lot of time. Stalker does not hold your hand in the zone. No, it's out to kill you. It doesn't want you to succeed, and that's important to understand. So, Stalker Anomaly provides you with a lot of opportunity to modify the game to your liking. And again, this is something that's very divisive with a lot of people. This could be perceived as a holy grail, meaning the game is accessible to anybody. You can jump into these settings and change them however you please, but the vanilla experience is still there. You're still going to have to overcome a lot of the same odds. The difficulty continues. So before we jump into Rookie Village, why don't we go over a few of the things that you should change in order to have a better experience in the game. Now, of course, you shouldn't have a tutorial in order to play a game. You shouldn't have a how-to set up guide to play a game, and that's something a lot of people have been very opinionated on. And I think for the most part, those people are 100% fair in their arguments. The game should be a lot more accessible. However, I'm very excited for Stalker Hearts of Chernobyl too. So playing Anomaly was just like one of those things that I wanted to do. I went through the settings and I changed everything to the way that I wanted to play this game. And on screen, you can go ahead and try to copy these if you so please. That's up to you. So I'm just going to show all of these before we get into the zone. What I can show you, that is. Oh, I'm going to turn on my mini map. Starting Stalker Anomaly, you're going to be spawned into a location known as Rookie Village. Nothing that you have actually equipped to you. So the first thing that you're going to have to do when you decide to play this game is equip an item. So you're going to click an item and you're going to have an animation play, which is you taking on and off that equipment. It's important to understand that this is, again, an optional feature in the game and one that you can put mods on to have full animations for every single item in the game. But I typically play with these animations off as I just am not privy to them personally. Entering the village for the first time, you're greeted with almost no information. It's just some stuff that pops up in the bottom left-hand corner of the game, and some people in a camp that you're going to have to speak to. It's important to understand that this game is setting up some rules and boundaries for you right out of the gate without actually directly telling you. You'll see people sitting over at a fire, and you'll see people walking patrols up and down the main road.
Слушаю тебя.
Of course, you could always walk out of the front entrance and immediately try to explore the world. However, this typically will result in a lot of death and a lot of hardships with getting into the game. Easy to state that the game is bad for this. However, I disagree with that statement completely and think the game is phenomenal, because instead it addresses you to communicate with the people within your camp to get a better understanding of the world that you are in. This is Fnatic. Fnatic is a free stalker, and if you chose the loner playthrough, it should be the first person that you speak to. Fnatic will take you on a mission in order to hunt 3 boars and then go get an anomalous object. So by heading out of the front village, this is where a lot of people have trouble understanding what Stalker is out of the gate. You will more than likely die. You'll have this pistol with FMJ rounds to take down 3 boars. This process can be annoying and hard, and I understand that for a lot of people it's super annoying, and I agree. I think it is really bad and really annoying. However, overcoming that first hurdle and achieving the first mission with Fnatic fills you with quite a bit of dopamine for you to continue to explore the interesting world that Stalker has to provide. Going left from the road here that is patrolled, you'll go back here to the right to a little bunker. Outside of this bunker, you will meet Wolf. Wolf is a character that wants to help the rookies. Just like Fnatic, he will give you the tools and means and missions to keep the wastes, or in this case, the zone, safe from other threats. Now, this doesn't mean that you're always safe from threats, because the game has some form of procedurals and random chance. You could be attacked by a wolf just standing right here, or other mutants. Or you can spawn into a raid where the bandits are already pushing on Rookie Village. These and more have happened and have been seen on several different streams. But by heading inside, we can see one of the most important characters that we're going to be discussing, and that is Sid. Like other games and other games like this, there is Sid. Sid is essentially just a traitor for the free stalkers and loners who want to occupy the zone. By speaking to Zid, you're given a lot of prompts. These prompts are not particularly all that important. However, he will give you the main story information that you're going to need to know. Now, that might seem like a lot of information, or even extremely simple information that just about anybody could follow, and you would be pretty much correct. But it's important to understand that Stalker sets itself up in a way to make you feel like a victim. You're not here to succeed. You're here to attempt to succeed. This game is full of failure. You're not always going to be extremely successful in the things that you attempt to do. So just starting out the game, I expect a lot of players to die right out of the gate before they even enter what I would consider the main story. But on the topic of the main story, we have several other things that need to be understood. You have a PDA. This is going to be your main system in which you interact with the world for traveling and seeing things and knowing where people are. This is a PDA version 1. This is just the beginning game, as I've just kind of ran around. I got lucky and found an AUG on a military guy. But if we go over to the task list, you'll see get a jellyfish artifact. Now, obviously, we can't just go do that. And if you play through the Fnatic storyline, you know what an artifact is, how to use the detectors and the bullets in order to spot them, find them, and you know what their visual cues are at this point. You've already overcame that hurdle. So I want to stop here, and I want to talk about why I think the Stalker introduction is both horrible and easily one of the best. Speaking on the first mission that you'll have to take on, which is Fanatics over here on our left, you'll have to leave the village through this exit here in order to fight a bunch of mutants. However, it's very likely that you only have this pistol. This pistol is not regarded as a very good pistol. It is essentially a basic Soviet carry for basic protection. It only fires 9x18, which is not a very big bullet. However, it is a plentiful bullet and is commonly found in the zone. Having a 9x8 bullet or gun is not a bad choice. However, it's important to understand many anomalies have some form of armor rating in the game. Now, it's important to understand that I am not the type of person who likes hand-holding in my video games. I don't want to be told everything. I like the experience of learning things for myself. And that's one of the things that made Stalker very important and special to me. Now, I could compare this game to things like Mega Man, but in many ways, Mega Man does the introduction a lot better. It sets everything up for you to overcome that is in a very easy way for many players to grasp. But Stalker more or less just throws you into an environment expecting you to have a lot more information and a general understanding of bullets and how they function as well. Important to note that cores found throughout Stalker have a hardened skull, which means only specific bullets will be able to penetrate it. This is accurate to real life, as small firearms typically do not fully enter into a brain or fully enter into a skull. These kinds of things are very interesting for the game to be portraying, as not many games do it or do it very well. Since Stalker doesn't 100% use a hit scan, it'll actually render and understand the range in which you're scoping in, meaning if you're using a 9mm pistol at extremely long range, the damage deficit is going to be massive, and that damage deficit is going to occur way sooner than you would normally expect with how you play other video games. Though something else, like an AUG with a larger bullet capacity, might be a way better option. But it's important to understand that this AUG is also using a short barrel, which means it's going to have a larger spray because it can't fully rifle the bullet in order for it to have a very high spin to fly straight. Meaning at full auto, this gun typically is only good at a shorter range, similar to that of a shotgun. Using a slug round, although it's less accurate, can do a lot of damage, but hitting something like body armor means it's not going to do that much. And you yourself are susceptible to the exact same rules. As you can see, I am not wearing a armored vest at all. This is something that a lot of people have issues with. Finding things that are armored and will protect you from bullets are not a very common occurrence, and you're going to need to modify your equipment to do so. Understanding these things, you can understand why the beginning of Stalker is so brutal. It takes time for you to get the correct equipment in order for you to take on normal enemies, but also harder enemies. Like many things, this can be perceived in multiple ways. You could say that the game is bullshit, and you would be correct. You can say that the difficulty is not fair, and you would be correct. And you could also say the game is not fun, and you could also be correct. However, all of these things are still just opinions. They're subjective nuances to what I consider to be one of the greatest games of all time, if not with its flaws. Many of the flaws include fetch questing. A lot of fetch questing. A lot of this game just has you moving around the zone and doing small odds and ends. However, this fits into the universe as that would be a very popular thing to do. A courier, or somebody who runs data and information around, is a very important task. That's why in games like Fallout New Vegas, the courier is regarded as such an important character. His abilities to overcome things is extremely important. Stalker Anomaly's introduction holds nothing back. It wants you to understand that you're entering a world that wants to see you dead. And that is something that a lot of people have issues with, and I completely understand why. It took me a long time to overcome the introduction of this game and finally come to terms with how this game wants me to play it. It wants me to exploit it and use other free stalkers to the best of my ability, and understand that the AI, although limited with the enemy, can become very sporadic and very powerful very quickly. You are never greatly strong. You're not perfect. There's a lot of nuance to the world that you need to understand right out of the gate. And the game teaches you this right out of the gate by spawning you into a world with very limited amounts of resource. This means ammunition, things to eliminate radiation, things to heal yourself, and things to stop your bleeding. A really quick talk about things that I don't like within this game. It's mainly going to be the repair and upgrade system that really annoys me. I don't like the fact that I can't repair things on my own, and I need to go to specialized benches in order to do that. There are a lot of mods and other things to go ahead and remove that from the game, and I would personally recommend that you do that. but it's also something that's designed and inherent in the game, because in real life you're going to want to interact with people who can tinker with guns, who understand body armor, who understand guns themselves, and allow them to do it for you. However, the economy in this game is not something that is easily participated in. You're going to need to do a lot of side content. You're going to need a lot of running around in order to get to that point. But I think this is mainly because Stalker Anomaly initially was for super fans. Stalker Anomaly was producing content for people who already had a pretty good understanding of the previous trilogy that came out before this standalone mod. And with that being said, the game has a much harder level of entry. And, you know, it is what it is. I think a lot of people should overcome that barrier in order to fully understand and enjoy this game, but it's really not meant for everyone. So what exactly is the point of this video? The point of this video is to make my opinion pretty clear. Stalker Anomaly is not a game that you should play on vanilla, and is a game that you should absolutely play with mods and the settings being tailored to the experience that you're looking for. Whether you think this makes a game good or bad is irrelevant to the conversation here, because Stalker Anomaly is definitively a great game. It has phenomenal weapon mechanics, it has great range mechanics, it has a fully functioning environment, it has a fully functioning battery system, the light system's great, the weather system's great, it's massive, there's a lot of factions, there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of game, and it's completely free. Now, if you die multiple times in the beginning of this game and decide, I'm not going to play this game, and decide to post negative reviews, it's completely understandable, but the majority of people who are playing Stalker are kind of beyond that. We're not looking for a Stalker vanilla experience, we're looking for a next-gen experience. It's important to understand that fans of Stalker have been fans of Stalker since early 2007. Stalker is not a new game. It's not a new franchise. Stalker Hearts of Chernobyl 2 is a long requested sequel to Stalker. So I think you should play Stalker. But if you're the type of person who wants to load up something like Stalker, it's important to understand that this game is full of what would be considered bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit deaths, there's a lot of ways that dies, and this game just is not here to hold your hand. In many ways, this game is essentially the hardcore RPG a lot of people who like Tarkov would be looking for. There's a lot of lore and story, of course, but there's a lot of things that you need to pay attention to and look out for. I'm going to go ahead and run it into an anomaly right now so you can understand and see just how dramatic and important it is for you to be aware of your surroundings and how easy it is for you to die in this game. That type of event is strewn across this game. There are many locations where you can just die for what will appear as no apparent reason. And sure, it can be bullshit, but overcoming those odds and learning how to navigate this world is a part of the experience that makes it super fun. I think Stalker Anomaly puts itself on a pedestal as one of those games that just simply is not meant for everyone, is going to be extremely decisive depending on your opinion, because it just sets itself up in a way for it to be extremely divisive against those who play it. You're going to have a community of people who severely dislike this game and will not want to overcome and learn a lot of the things that this game has to offer, as it is a very in-depth game during a time period where we are very oversaturated with games in the year 2023. It's also a game that requires quite a bit of information ahead of time in order for you to fully understand and appreciate what the game has put forward. Outside of the Rookie Village is what I would consider another massive mistake new players typically make, and that is the idea that they are bulletproof. They are immortal gods who will have absolutely no problem steamrolling anything that comes their way and overcoming this world. However, the game is not set up for you to achieve this. right outside of the Rookie Village, which is right over there, is a military checkpoint. Going up to this checkpoint will result in you being fired upon by military. This area is important because there are items strewn across this area. However, you typically do not have the firepower to overcome a basic fight with the military. You are not a strong entity. If I were to fire on this guy, he would fire back, and many of his friends would also fire upon me, making this a route that you cannot go. Meaning, this way is the only way that Rookie Village has been placed on a pedestal for people who enjoy Stalker as a respite from a lot of the hell that the Wasteland has. Rookie Village is a place for you to find companionship, have a safe place to stay that is constantly being refilled with more characters who are there to defend that village. There are multiple fire pits with armed guards. There are many people up and down patrolling this road. This place feels safe, but it is then completely annexed by the fact that the buildings around you are disheveled, destroyed, and irreparable. The environment of Stalker is one of lots of grass, high grass, hiding many targets. This world provides itself in a way that makes you aware that these light respites are very important. However, picking out your PDA and simply flipping over to the Relations tab shows that you have a lot of things that you need to deal with. Monolith is friends with Monolith. You, as a person, need to understand who and what is going to want to work with you in order for you to experience this game. Meaning, many of these red enemy locations will have respites, but in order for you to properly take over that respite, it could mean a lot of armed conflict for you to have a potentially safe environment. Stalker Anomaly has set itself up to be a game that will absolutely destroy you. It doesn't really seem like a game that you can succeed in. You're going to die. You're going to have to overcome the odds. You're going to have to overcome what this world has to throw at you. And it's not just damage output. This is a horror game. This is a horror game. It's just the way it is. There are a lot of beasts and mutants and things that will kill you in seconds. They don't care. They're not here to provide you any form of respite like these little camps that you have will. I personally find that Cordon in Stalker is such a great location for a player to start in. There's not too much loot. There's not too much going on. Sure, you might have to fight a couple cougars or a couple boars, but once you have the skill and you understand what you're doing to overcome those threats, and you've built up some form of economy, which, by the way, the economy is completely changeable, and if you want more money, just get more money, or turn on debug mode and hit F7 and give yourself more money. But that's up to you. You can make the game easier if you so choose. If you find the combat not something that you're interested in, then make the combat a little bit easier for yourself. Just give yourself the weapon. It's not so much about understanding what Stalker is. It's not so much about the world itself. It's not so much about the desolation and the hopelessness that this environment provides. It's everything around you wanting you to fail. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you're going to cheat, I think you should. But understanding that you could absolutely just stay in Cordon and be a fanatic or be a wolf and never achieve your greater goal is still something that you can choose. If you don't feel comfortable leaving Cordon and adventuring out into a harsher zone, there's no reason to say that you can't just stay in Cordon. The game never explicitly tells you you can't. It's really up to you, the player, to brave the world that's before you, understanding that the world before you is massive. All of these taking you to new locations and having new enemies to fight and mutants around every corner. The game will take you all over the place. But that's only if you can overcome Rookie Village. Stalker toes the line with me like many other games do, where the difficulty and some of the bullshittery that it decides to put on display just makes me want to overcome it more. This is very similar to my first experience with Demon Souls. Demon Souls set itself up as a game that I did not feel I could complete. But over time, I gained the skills and I gained an understanding of how the world wants to present itself and the rules that it's placing on me as a player or actor in that world. For me, there's just something about Stalker Anomaly where I just enjoy running around in these environments and seeing what the game has on offer. There are so many little intricacies occurring at every moment. I love it. I love every little bit of it. I see these animals and I need to defend myself, and they normally wouldn't be here, and there's a lot of them. Like, holy shit. Fighting these boars is nothing like fighting people. Boars are very powerful. They are going to kill you unless you're careful and you know what you're doing. You need to take the time to understand the enemy, how they coordinate themselves, and how they're going to approach and fight you. Not only that, but I find the game to be rather stunning. I think it's quite a beautiful personification of this world. This desolate, what happened in Chernobyl, Ukraine kind of atmosphere. Some of the missions that you'll receive from Rookie Village will have you leading out into some of the areas surrounding Cordon. This is the game's pretty much way of saying you are ready to go explore this world, but you need to be ready and excited to find new items and new resources, and you need to be prepared to die. This is a very fascinating way to handle the game, in my opinion. As you can see, I need to save this guy from a fight. By stealthing and allowing them to take some of the fire, I can add him to the fight, and he will continue to fight alongside me. This is extremely important for my survival because having more people fighting alongside me will allow me to progress and understand how to push forward in the game moving forward. As the game wants me to meet with a team known as the Straylock group, as Sid has told me from the beginning of the game. I can assume that I will one day join the Straylock group and be able to continue my adventure with people by my side. But this also means that I need to become friendly with many of the factions so I can hire or even just have people join my scouting operations and my fighting operations without incident. These kinds of missions pretty much imply that this game has a living environment, something that I need to participate in at all times, meaning the economy itself, as you can see, even though it's exploitable, is there for you to participate in order to overcome something. Village in Stalker Anomaly has presided itself over me as a very important area because it sets itself up for one of the hardest hardcore RPGs I've ever decided to play in my entire life, and I personally recommend that a lot of people try this. I've recommended this to a lot of people because it's something that I find very fun. It's something that I personally think is a phenomenal game that is definitely worth experiencing. However, this will not be the case for many people. The idea of a game needing mods and needing to be tailored by you for you to have fun in doesn't sound like a great option, and it's something that I can completely understand and I completely get. But once you do, and you explore the world of Stalker, you'll find that although aside from all of the fetch questing, the world has a lot to offer. The characters have deep dialogue, the values for the factions have deep intrinsic meaning, and can completely change a playthrough, requiring you to do missions for different factions in order to side with them in order to overcome some sort of threat and build the army that you need in order to traverse the world that this game has laid before you. Stalker Anomaly is an imperfect game that is not meant for everyone. It is a game that many people will ridicule, dislike, and hate because it does not hold your hand, it does not tell you what to do, and it has a very, very aggressive system in place to completely stop many people who would be interested in playing this game. In one way, this is one of the worst introductions to a video game that I have ever seen, and in another, it is one of the best introductions to a game I have ever seen. It is this way because it is dichotomous depending on who is playing. Stalker Anomaly can be a vanilla experience that anybody can pick up and play if they decide to dedicate the time to it and save scum their way through the beginning. However, with that means it's also garbage. It's restrictive. It's hard to get into the game. There's a lot of things that you need to do to overcome that barrier. You can't just kill something, which means many people without that skill won't be able to leave the beginning area of the game without cheating. But I think you should cheat. I think this is a game that you should absolutely play, and you should resolve to let those criticisms fall where they are, and just move past it and try to enjoy the game after these facts. I do not care if a person uses the get rich cheat and immediately spawns with an AK-74 that's completely decked out with laser sights, night vision sights, best armor in the game. I don't care. The game does not set itself up to stopping you. It wants you to do these things because it wants you to experience it the way you want to experience it, which is not something many games can do these days. To me, Stalker Anomaly falls in place with many other sandbox titles. It falls in line with games like Tarkov, Lost Light, and Rust, where you can't easily just win. You're going to need to fail in order to overcome anything. And if that's not fun for you, then yeah, avoid Anomaly at all costs. This game is not for you. But if you're looking at Heart of Chernobyl 2, Stalker 2, and you're saying that that game looks fantastic and you don't know what Stalker is and the reputation it has amongst the communities and just how split down the middle it is, well, you're not going to enjoy the new one very much either. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you're willing to try out Stalker Anomaly for yourself. Go grab your favorite mod kits, your favorite mod packs, favorite mod organizers, and just make the game how you want. Or don't play it at all, or attempt to play it vanilla. It does not matter what you do. I would just like to see people try this game, as I feel it's one of the greatest games ever made, and that has a lot of dichotomy with a lot of other people's opinions. Much like Dark Souls and other games, it's just not something a lot of people can play. Elden Ring is another great example. It's not a game that anybody can just pick up and play. They are hard games that require you to retrain how you play video games. I think that's one of the reasons also why I enjoy Stalker Anomaly so much. I had to rethink how I play video games to overcome that beginning barrier in order to enter a world that I found extremely fascinating, with just enough there for me to enjoy every second of it. I love the combat in this game, and I love constantly changing my weapons. I like the idea of being a victim in this universe, being given suicide missions that will take me a long time to overcome. However, the grind, the fetch questing, it does date itself. The game is not brand new, and it's not going to just be spectacular out of the gate. It might sound like I don't love this game by many of the things that I've stated. However, again, I love the accessibility of this game and the ability to manipulate it and make it the way I want. I hope you guys enjoy Anomaly. I hope you guys like Stalker Anomaly. If you guys are interested, I have been pondering the idea of starting a new character and doing a full Let's Play of this game on the hard difficulty. I'm even considering doing an Iron Man difficulty with campfire saving only. That's something you're interested in, I would love to overcome those challenges, as it'll make me a better gamer in the future and push me to be more accurate, more conservative with my ammunition. It'll make me more aware of my health and things like that. I am personally tired of games where all you have to do is crouch in a corner and you're back to full health. Things like that just don't really work for me. Stalker Anomaly filled a void for me that some people are looking for and a lot of people aren't looking for. Although I recommend this game so fully, it's important to understand that you may walk away from this game absolutely hating it. And I want you to understand that a lot of us in the Anomaly community completely understand. But understand it is going to be a skill issue. You can overcome it. You absolutely can overcome it, as many of us have. It took me a long time to get out of Rookie Village, but now Rookie Village is one of those locations in video games that I find very special. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. See ya.